The dermis is located underneath the epidermis, and unlike the epidermis, which is epithelial tissue, the dermis is primarily connective tissue. So connective tissue includes cells that give rise to a matrix where we have, like, for example, collagen fibers. So collagen is a super important structural protein in your bones and in your underneath your skin. And you probably have heard of it because a lot of the creams and gels people put on their faces proclaim that they have collagen in them. And this collagen can help prevent, for example, aging. Because a loss in collagen means that you kind of lose some of that stuff that is underneath your skin and you get wrinkles. So there's actually very little evidence that our skin can absorb collagen, which is a protein, right across the surface. Most of the chemicals that we put on our skin are not soluble by the skin. They can't actually enter the cells. The exception would be those creams that have lipids like vitamin A and vitamin E, and even vitamin D can be absorbed across the surface of the skin because they are lipids. Okay, so the dermis contains the connective tissue. It also contains the sensory structures. It contains hair follicles. There's also muscles associated with our hair follicles that allow the hair to stand on end when we are cold, for example, or when we are scared. So the sympathetic nervous system will cause what is referred to as pileoerection, where the hairs will stand on end and you will get the goosebumps when you are cold because your body is trying to conserve heat. If your cat does that and it gets all fluffy and it's out in the cold, it will actually hold heat in. But when we do it, it just gives us the goosebumps. And so those are the hair follicles that are located in the dermis. And so underneath the dermis is what is referred to as the hypodermis. So hypo means below. So we have the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. The hypodermis actually contains adipose tissue, which is another type of connective tissue. But this is what is referred to as subcutaneous fat. So this subcutaneous fat aids in thermoregulation. And it is actually really important as a form of thermoregulation. Women tend to have a little bit more subcutaneous fat than males. And some mammals have a lot of subcutaneous fat, like aquatic mammals, like dolphins and whales, for example, that are trying to regulate their body temperature in water. And you lose a lot more heat in water than you do in the air. So they actually need more subcutaneous fat to keep them warm. One thing I forgot to mention in the dermis, besides the hair follicles and the sensory restructures, we also have the glands. And so we have sweat glands. We have what are referred to as apocrine glands. And we have what are called sebaceous glands. And we're going to be talking about those next.